Morning, folks. It's Heather, Bush Poppy Farm. It's Monday, May 23rd, and this is the vlog. It's gonna be hot today, mid to upper 80s Fahrenheit. What is that? Low 30s Celsius. But tomorrow it's gonna be real hot, so mid 90s Fahrenheit. That's gonna be real hot. So my plan tomorrow is to come out here early in the morning and get a little bit done, but then once it starts really getting hot, I'm heading home. I'm gonna work in the house tomorrow. I still have all that sock knitting to finish. So that's gonna happen tomorrow afternoon because it's just, yes, I could work through the heat, and I have done that before, but there's no need for me to do that right now. So I'm gonna just be kind to my body and not kill myself out here. So what I'm doing this morning, and it will only be this morning because again, it's gonna get hot and I have a lot of stuff to do at home administrative work wise. I'm going to, the couplers haven't arrived yet, but I still can put drip on this back bed here because I have the hose, the tubing for it, and I don't need couplers for that. So I will get that laid out. I'm actually going to put, I don't usually use landscape fabric, but I am actually going to use it in the pathways of this lower field this year because the weed pressure here is so high that even through the straw, it's going to be crazy. I've already noticed that in the upper field, the weeds coming through the straw, which is okay. I can go through there and weed, but it's a lot harder to weed in straw with a hoe. So it's more hand weeding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to landscape fabric these beds for this season. That should eliminate the weed pressure and also potentially kill off through solarization any other weed seeds that are in there. And then in the fall, when I go to turn these beds over, I'll pull up the landscape fabric and I'll prepare the beds and just do a normal hay, straw pathway. That way I can start building the soil. But I think it makes the most sense to, start off with really trying to be aggressive on the weed situation here. Otherwise, I'm just going to be battling that all season. So that is my plan for the day. It's not much, but it's enough to get me through the next couple hours before I go home and get out of the heat. So I'll probably set you guys up on a time lapse and we'll see how it goes. I just realized you guys keep me accountable. I know that sounds crazy, but it's hot out here today. I am like, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old because I used to be able to handle heat much better than I do now. But I kept having that like, oh, I just want to quit. But because I'm being filmed and I want to share this with you guys, it keeps me accountable and it keeps me going. So I am going to finish this project today and then I'm going home. My customer just came to pick up what she needed, and so that was the main reason I had to be out here, but I wanted to get work done while I was here, so I'm going to finish this up. And so thank you for holding me accountable. Now back to work. Okay, not the most beautiful job, but for the most part it's done. I'm going to string trim the outside edges. So this part here and then over there. String trim that and then lay down a line of it so that we can completely block those weeds, at least for a season. It's a really good thing time-lapse doesn't have sound because I was cursing up a storm, and that ground is so hard. I bent so many stakes trying to sorry, camera got bounced around. I bent so many stakes trying to get the landscape staples in the ground. It's just rock hard. So I know I tilled that area. I don't know. I hope things grow out there this year. I think they're going to struggle, but we'll do the best we can. This year I will focus on adding as much soil biology as possible. We'll add another big layer of compost in the fall. There is, I put down elemental sulfur beforehand, and I've already treated it with calcium, which will open up the soils a bit. The other thing too is that it's really dry, really dry, because it's been sitting there with no irrigation. So before I plant things in there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle out starter fertilizer on the beds. I'll pull back the irrigation first, sprinkle the starter fertilizer, put the irrigation down, and then I'm going to take the hose and I'm going to saturate it, because what happens is when soil, especially compost, sits for too long, out in the sun baking, it becomes hydrophobic. It literally it repels water. So if I were to just transplant in there and turn on the drip irrigation system, they would die because the water would just kind of run through. It wouldn't actually stick in the soil, and that's what you need it to do. So I'm going to irrigate it really well before I transplant. So Thursday morning, when it's supposed to be a high of 68 on Thursday, which is wonderful, so much better than the next 2 days, I will come out early and I will do what I just told you. So that'll be, totally ready. And then I'll transplant everything. And then it'll be cool for the next 4 days after that. So I think that will help. It'll help them get established, having nice cool temperatures as well as very soft irrigated soil. And I think that water will loosen up the compacted soils below. At least I hope so. Definitely would be worse if I hadn't tilled it, but I still think it's going to be a struggle this year, especially based on what's going on behind me. I mean, those guys, they're growing, but not as much as I expect them to be. However, this heat wave might really help them, because those are plants that are heat-loving plants, like zinnias and celosia and stuff. So we'll see. My first year at my home farm was like this, where things grew, but they didn't get as prolific as I had expected them to. But this year, it's just amazing. So, let's hope. I mean, the perennial beds are looking great. I mean, that's the same soil, and maybe not as compacted though. We'll see. It's all going to be a crapshoot until we see how the whole season goes. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. I'm dripping in sweat because it's hot. I'm going to water everything again in the greenhouse before I leave, and then I'm going to head home. My kids had their first day of exams today for the end of the year, and I just want to get home and see them. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.